Hello, everybody. Uh, this is the Hot Chip Challenge stream. Let's see. I am going to be taking a bite of. I'll be taking the bite of the chip in about 15 minutes. So I'm kind of getting myself set up. I was out trick or treating with the kids until very recently, so still getting stuff set up, I guess. Anyway, I've got free model of the month right here. My space is a little chaotic right now, but I think I managed to get everything I need in place. So we're gonna switch over to the hobby cam. Oh my, what is happening there? Why is the camera in black and white? Let's see. Oh, that was the wrong camera. All right, that is curious. Is it problem with the USB port? Where does this USB cable go to? Oh, that's the microphone. I am. Maybe it's a setting. That is odd. Okay. Well, if I use... Oh, I know. What if I put that camera into my other USB ports? I bet that'll work. Maybe? Oh, I bet it's not recognizing it because it's... That is strange. That is... This has never happened before. I am a little bit at a loss. Maybe it's a setting. Filters. I'll just delete it and try adding it again. Oh, the fun of live streaming with technology. Yes, Kitty. I know, Kitty. All right, USB camera, and there it goes. And it's still black and white. What if I... is it a bad cable? That might explain it. Well, I have other options. This is a frustrating timing. I was literally like, I checked the setup twice this morning, and oh, maybe it's in webcam settings. Where are my webcam settings? Boom! Hey! Oh man, I did it. All right, now I'm feeling better. That was concerning. I was getting anxious. Yes, Omar. My kitty really wants to say hi. Yeah, so we're going to have the chip in about 10 minutes. So we'll go ahead and take the model out. This is the free Sternguard that came with that came as the model of the month this month. And I'm going to mess with the settings here so that we can get the correct amount of focus, or not. That might not actually be optional. I might need to just adjust. All right. Interesting. And all right, so if I just set it up to be as you can see, my desk's a bit of a mess right now. I was trying to clean up today, but there's a lot of Halloween activities going on. So, you know, things haven't quite gone to plan today. Really at all. But we make do. Maybe it's just too bright, and that's the problem. Well, whatever. All right. So, hello. Well, that's weird. Oh, got it. I know what's happening now. I'm online so that I can actually see everybody's comments. And hi everybody. I am about to, we're T-minus 6 more minutes until the time. So let's open it up, take a look at it. All right. So first off, obviously it's shaped like a coffin. One Chip Challenge 2023. You versus the Reaper. What to expect? Made with Carolina Reaper peppers and Naga Viper peppers, the vicious chip was created for the vengeful pleasure of intense heat and pain. Swift strike to the mouth, senses recoil, Viper hyperhypnosis, abdomen attack, serpent spiral. All right. I do not actually have milk or alcohol nearby. So part of the original way the challenge was kind of set up, the idea is that you're supposed to see if you can last an hour from when you eat the chip until you eat or drink something else. And I did this in December, and it was intense. But after about 20 minutes, the rest of the hour was no issue. I haven't done this particular mix of spices on this chip. So I don't know exactly what it's going to be like. It might be different. The previous one, the experience was like borderline like psychedelic spiritual range. Like that's how intense the heat is. Like your body can no longer understand what it's experiencing. Like there's just too much heat. So the I slayed. So yeah, you see 1 minute harmless, 10 minutes slither, 30 minutes venomous, 1 hour apex predator. Now, I don't know about being an apex predator. Oh, and my favorite thing about this is that you get a free bag of Pocky's chips, which means that the one chip challenge winds up costing you like $2 as long as you like spicy chips. And who would be buying the one chip challenge if they didn't like spicy chips? That's the important question. So I will say I have some water and some tortillas set aside. If I just happen to like not be able to handle it, I can at least start there. And I guess I have got some booze on the other side of the desk that I could run and grab if I was in need. But my goal is to last the full hour, and thus having an activity, because having something to do is a great way to keep your mind off of the pain. Now, I am anticipating being kind of, basically when you consume something that has this much pepper in it, you start to, really sweat and cry, and your nose will run. So I've got some tissues nearby, and oh yeah, one other very important thing about the hot chip challenge, you do not want to get any of this in any soft mucous membrane parts of your body. Like, you would be in agony. So they recommend using gloves. I used a chopsticks the last time I did it, but I'm going to use gloves today. Yeah, so I'm kind of shooting for sprue to paint it. I haven't decided on a chapter yet, so I should probably come up with that. It's a Sternguard, so I'm thinking not Dark Angels, which is kind of like my go-to, like Space Marines a lot of the time. I'm leaning Imperial Fists, but we'll see. We've got a little time, and if I get it done in an hour, bonus. But like if I don't get it done in an hour, I'm not gonna like be mad or feel like I failed or something, because like obviously the real challenge, I for Space Marines, I like to just go with it's just about the colors for me, honestly. I don't I have no intention of like getting hard into like a modern Space Marine army. I don't even know kind of what's involved these days. So we're at like T-1 minute. All right, I think that is going to be our best amount of focus. I'm frustrated at how kind of janky the camera is coming through, but I'm eventually going to get a second Logitech webcam. Black and gold loyalist. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I'm open to that. I don't know. It's it's tough. All right. Well, it's time to eat the chip. So, as I build, we can figure out which color scheme to do. So, It is opened. It is, oh boy. This is the other thing. It's like, first off, this chip has been like sealed in this container for like a few months, and so it is stale. This is, oh, Lament. Yes. No, you're right. I have a whole Lamenter's, I literally have a Lamenter's, like, Terminator Strike Team sitting next to me, on my, my racks. So, yes. Oh, boy. Oh, this is going to be intense. All right. Down the hatch. Hot chip challenge. All right. Immediate first thoughts. It burns. It's intense. Oh, this is familiar. Oh, baby. The, the intensity is there. You can see I'm already starting to cry and perspire. The thing is, though, is that with the right mindset, you can survive just about any discomfort. Only thing is that I am looking for my clippers. And I cannot find them. And that's strange. Because I clipped something out of my... I clipped something out of a sprue like a few days ago. Well, no sense standing on ceremony. I'm not going to get any less ready or any more ready. Ooh. Woo. Callus, if you do, if you want to do a tandem live stream, I could probably track down another one. Oh boy. I'm feeling like there's like a whole, like, don't be a hero, you know, aspect to it. Like, if you're suffering, don't push yourself. You know, don't do anything that that you can't handle. But ultimately, for me, like, there's like a, not quite a spiritual, but like a, like, it feels like I'm really like testing my body. And sometimes it's good to do that, you know, like see where your limits are. And trim back the push fit parts. And yeah. Currently, things are a little wavy. Like I said, it's like when you experience heat or a certain intensity, it is a borderline psychedelic experience because your body like does not know how to handle what it's kind of going through. So, oh boy. I started eating hot stuff. In high school, I really got into eating peppers and such to really test my limits. I ate a habanero pepper in the lunchroom at school one time, which was not that bad for me, but the other kid who tried threw up everywhere. And so the school administration got kind of cross with students doing that. So we didn't do it at school again after that. So yeah, I've been kind of I wouldn't say I'm necessarily naturally super spice resilient. Not to say that I'm not, it's hard to kind of nail down. I don't know exactly where I fall because it's been 20 years of me kind of pushing myself. But I remember getting Chinese food as a kid and trying those those little hard peppers, the little chili peppers that you get in the Kung Pao, and it was too hot for me. I suffered. But in time, you can kind of get used to it. I actually kind of relate it to I relate it a little bit to putting putting yourself through extreme cold. Your body knows that cold is dangerous. So it instinctively, when it starts to experience the discomfort of cold, makes you kind of panic. Because it's not safe for you to be exposed, But it does that pretty early. Before the cold is actually at a point where it is dangerous. So by experiencing cold and suffering through the discomfort of cold, you can actually teach your body, okay, you don't have to activate this protective response until a lower temperature. So the longer you wait to put on a jacket, basically, the more resilient to cold you become, because your body learns okay, this too shall pass. Yeah, the Thai chili peppers, those are nothing now, but when I was a kid I was it's so hot, it burns. We're 10 minutes in. It's still my lips hurt I just ate the habanero. That's how intense it is. And obviously I'm still very, very flush. Apologize. I should probably mute button before I blow my nose. Retrospect. All right. we're close on the build. Obviously, push fit models make that nice and easy. You can see I'm not bothering to glue it. I'd like to get through as much of it as possible, so you know, time is of the essence. Now I'll probably keep going past the hour if I'm not done painting the model, and kind of see how far I can get on it. All right. So, where to start? I've decided to do the Lamenter. That was a good suggestion. So I'm going to start with. I'm going to start with Pro Acryl Magenta. It's a good color. It's a reliable color. Get my wet palette wet. Probably should have done that earlier, but you know, you live, you learn. I've also got this, I was talking about it last live stream. I've got this really cool, like, water reservoir, refillable water station, that works really well for kind of, the kind of painting I do, where I'm often kind of switching between metallics and traditional, and I'll even like be, you know, throwing in oils for stuff, and you can wash your oil paint in your white spirit, and then you can do soap, conditioner, and water, and then you can dump the water. It's really nice for that. Oh wow, my mouth doesn't hurt anymore. Well, no, my lips hurt, but like the inside of my mouth is like coming down. Stomach hurts. Definitely a little stomach discomfort is to be expected. Your stomach does not have the same kinds of nerve endings as your mouth and other you know, mucous membranes on the outside of your body do, but it does. It does have the ability to feel sensation. So like when you eat something this hot, your stomach goes like, "What the hell are you doing? Like, what do you think you're doing?" I don't know, body. I don't know. All right. So yes, you're going with magenta. Necromunda game is going great. In fact, I am like halfway into editing episode 21, and I've got episodes 22 and 23 already recorded, and I'm supposed to be recording the finale, which is episode 24, this Sunday. So I've worked out a way to kind of streamline my editing a bit. As a result, I should have, like, my goal is to kind of have one episode a week for a little while, as we crank through the rest of season 1. And that will be like like it'll end on a point where kind of the next season is teased. Then we're going to take a break from Necromunda. Not that I'll necessarily stop playing. I really enjoy the game a lot, and I just found a new player who is looking to start playing in my area, so I might, you know, start something up with him, do like a 2-person campaign or something. But it's nice to game without like having to worry about recording and documenting everything. So I don't know, I might wind up doing some battle reports, but like coming up with kind of like a rapid fire battle report format where it's like mostly just pictures and kind of like descriptions of stuff. But we'll see, you know, it's a process. All right. But yeah, so my plan after the season of the Frontier is done, hopefully by the end of November, You can totally play Genestealer Cult in Necromunda. Our kind of like current opponents for the games that we're playing now are Genestealer Cults. Man, I'm just like really kind of frustrated about the lack of focus out of my camera. Settings panel, manual. Oh, that's not. Man. How far away does it have to be? No, that hasn't helped at all. Alright. Oh, I have an idea. Oh, it's an annoying idea. Boy, we're 15 minutes in, and I think that I'm through the worst of it. All right, so I'm just gonna do a quick switcheroo here. There, I'm gonna go to the hold screen for just a sec. Okay. This got all weird. All right. Let's just switch this over to the USB camera. Okay. And then we'll switch this one to the... Okay. Logitech camera. And... of course, it's doing that weird thing again. And so I'll go into webcam settings. Default. Default. Boom. All right. Okay, so now I'm in black and white. Well, could be worse. Oh, interesting. Okay, I think I just need to unplug it. Unplug it back in. And now go into it. Okay. Ah, there we go. Manual. Turn the exposure up. Hey, it's me. All right. All right, this is a little clearer, I think. And importantly, this camera has a, in the settings, it can actually zoom, and it does not, it can allow you to manually focus. So, unfortunately, there we go. So if I work in this range, all right, so if I put it down, Can I hit that sweet spot again? All right, perfect. Ha! All right. I've defeated the technology issues. Now, if I could just get it to show less of my mess. Well, one thing at a time. All right. I'm not really suffering right now. I'm feeling good. So, you know, I think that, you know, at this point, I'm through the worst of it, and I can confidently say that I'm going to crush this hot chip challenge, this one chip challenge, just like I crushed last year's. It's just a matter of mindset, you know? You really gotta, like, get yourself thinking, like, okay, this hurts, this is rough. And by the by, the paint was drying on the base coat anyway, so, you know, I wasn't sweating kind of the lack of progress. And now we put a coat of yellow ochre on using a dry brush. And, you know, usually I'm very, like, steadfast about trying to get all synthetic brushes, as a lot of the material that goes into, you know, the sable and wolf hair and all that is not necessarily the most ethical sources. You know, you're kind of basically dealing with the fur industry, which is not great. Not to besmirch anyone's choice to kind of use sable. I totally get it. But I am, you know, I'm picky about that stuff. I like to think of myself as, you know, having to being mindful of, like, trying to cause as little suffering as possible. And so I don't know anything about the dry brush that I've been using, because it actually was like they were handing them out for free as a promo item at Nova Open. And they were like, yeah, like, take our brushes, you know, they're only available on Kickstarter, so, like, this is the only place you can get them, like, to actually hold and to feel. And you know, they haven't, you know, we're just doing early promo work. And I like looked at the people who were handing it out, and I didn't see the company name. I'm sure that they had cards or something if you asked, but I was busy. I was trying to get models ready for the events running the next day. And I have no idea. There's no name on the handle. There's no identifying markers of any kind. It's just this dry brush. And so, as a promotional item, it kind of whiffed a little bit. It's a decent brush. I do not dislike the brush. I wouldn't necessarily promote it because, I don't know what kind of material it's made out of. But, like, I do not dislike it. I've been enjoying painting with it. But, like, without that identifying information, I am not able to even, like, guess at the company that made the brush. So, you know, if you ever happen to find yourself, you know, doing a a Kickstarter, and you're trying to hand stuff out as promos, I would highly recommend putting a brand name on it. Because, you know, It helps if people can identify your product. I'm messing with my zoom or my autofocus. Yeah, no. If I happen to like it and wanted to buy another, I'm shit out of luck. That is exactly right. The funny thing is that I don't actually necessarily need to buy another because they gave us two, and they're identical. So like, I'm good on dry brushes for a while, at least of that size. All right, so that was the yellow ochre from Procryl. Now we're gonna golden yellow. And the thing about dry brushes is, like, I don't go out of my way to spend, like, hobby budget prices on dry brushes because you can get synthetic bristle makeup brushes, like all the brushes that I use for, like, my normal makeup that I do. You can get all of that at the drugstore for, like, a buck or two a brush. So there's very little reason to, like, go out of your way to buy a dry brush. Unless, like, you really like a particular handle or something. Yeah. All right. Doing our yellow. Exactly. Makeup brushes, for dry brushes, like they're like ideal. They often will have the right, like, round tip, and they will, like, have the nice kind of soft splay to them that, like, really is what you want when you're dry brushing. So, you know, I don't know why other stuff even exists necessarily, but okay. Does anyone remember what color lamenters use for their tabards? Because I do not. I might need to look up a reference. Look at you. Yes, you're going to be one sad space marine. I like the lamenters a lot because, like, I feel like they're the most relatable Space Marine chapter because they're like the Millhouse of the space of the Blood Angels. Like, they're just like cannot stop the universe from just shitting on them all the time. And, like, they thought that the Black Rage was cured, but then, like, when it hit them, it was like a significantly worse problem than the other chapters. Like, they cannot get a win. I don't think any of the firstborn in the chapter made it back from the Penitent Crusade as of the last time I checked. Oh, okay. So the white on the tabards. Perfect. So I'll leave that where it is, where it's that kind of, like, pink and ochre, and I'll go over that with creamy white, and then highlight with a white. I gotta say, I think that the Hot Chip Challenge was maybe even easier than last year, although it's hard to kind of keep it in perspective. It's possible that I've just been eating spicier lately, and so that I didn't notice. But you know, we're 30 minutes in, and I'm no longer in any discomfort whatsoever. I'm not even, like, thirsty really. So you too can attempt the Hot Chip Challenge And even if you don't, I do recommend the Pockies. If you like spicy chips, and you're like, man, like Doritos do not make a spicy chip. Like the way that like not everyone feels that way. Some people are like, whew, those Doritos are spicy. And I have no, I don't try to make eating spicy stuff into like a macho, like kind of thing. Obviously, I'm not super into like acts of performative, masculinity, being someone who has performed a transition to femininity. But like, if you like spicy and regular spicy chips just straight up don't do it for you, the Pockies ghost pepper chips are actually hot. And it comes in a bag. It's not like a single chip that you kind of do like weird performative show off of your spice tolerance with. Not to throw shade at myself. These are just regular old chips. Like you get a big old bag of them. But the ghost pepper ones are actually hot. And then the other kind of flavor that I see, I can't remember the name of it. It might be like maybe something lime or something like that. It kind of reminds me of Doritos, but like with a bit more zip. I don't know why I'm doing yellow on this shoulder pad now that I think about it, because I'm gonna wind up going over it with white anyway. So I'm actually gonna come back and kind of pull that back. No need to sweat the shoulder pads. All right. Well, I'm definitely I'm happy with the pink undercoat. I think that worked well. And now we're gonna kind of let the shoulder pads dry so we can come over them with a white. So for now, I'm going to do. Where is my... See, if I was really thinking, I would have had the colors I was doing figured out before I started painting. And then I wouldn't have to be like searching around to figure out where my pale yellow is. But I found it. All right. So, putting some pale yellow on the palette. And we're going to come in for highlights with a 50-50 Monument Pale Yellow and Monument Golden Yellow mix. And I'm going to go fairly aggressive with this highlight, because then I'm going to come in with the just pale yellow on top of that, and then we are going to filter. Oh yeah, we need to Lamenters. Okay, yellow trim. Oh, interesting. I guess it's yellow on the right shoulder pad some of the time. I don't know if it's always yellow. Winters. Go for some images, see what other folks did. Alright, so people like to do yellow on the right shoulder pad. Alright, well, that's fine. We can do that. We'll come back to that later. Should probably turn my compressor off. And there we go. Back to highlighting. And I'm kind of gonna, since I'm trying to get this model done with efficiency, we're gonna be a little bit rough with it. I'm not gonna be obsessive about coming back and tweaking things, at least for now. There's a decent chance that once I am quote unquote done this model, I will then later come back and obsessively tweak stuff. Well, I am going to confidently say that as long as Pockies keeps putting out these chips, I will keep doing this as a tradition, because this was a lot of fun. It's silly, obviously, to like create such an arbitrary situation, but like it's fun to have an excuse to paint a model in an hour or so. The chips, so it kind of, you can go to Pocky's website and like they've got like places that sell us nearby, like Finder or whatever. It kind of depends. For me, the only place that I've been reliably able to find them is there's a like a dollar store style chain called Five Below that consistently has the Pockies stuff, and if you find it at the right time, they have it for sale. A little bit of a indigestion, and the spice can just like come right back up, and it is spicy the second time around as well. Probably should have done the Hot Ones classic and chugged some Pepto before eating the chip, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know, in this life, there's nothing but possibilities. All right. Now that we have done some highlighting, we come around and do kind of finer highlights. In just the pure. Oh yeah, while I'm here, I'll come back and do doing just the pale yellow, the Monument pale yellow, as kind of the high point. It's almost white. Like the Monument pale yellow is about as close to white as a yellow can get. And yet, you can mix it 50-50 with white, and you get a slightly lighter yellow. But we're not going that hard. That's how I paint when I kind of am up all night, obsessively painting too much. I wind up doing, like, I'll do transitions that have like 9, 10 steps of dilution. Oh no, Carlos, I appreciate you being on the stream. I don't know if you're still there because I get a delay from when I kind of speak to when you guys are seeing me. But you know, it's almost 10 o'clock at night. It's totally fair for you to or I actually no idea what time it is for you. But like, I really appreciate everyone who comes on and watches it all. You know, I'm just a silly weirdo who likes to do stupid stuff with models. So I always love it when people you know, take the time out of their day to check out what I'm working on. And yeah, I feel good. I've conquered the chip. All right, now we're gonna let the highlights on the yellow dry, because we're gonna come back over them with a. Oh, you're in Ohio, so yeah. Do not worry, Meandering Shade. I was not judging. Yeah, it's like hobby streaming is kind of like the first time I tried it was like right when lockdown started during COVID, and like it's weird. It's ultimately just a very odd kind of thing. Like I enjoy doing it a lot, so like I don't mean to like make it seem like disparaging or whatever, but like while it's fun, it's, you know, it's kind of like stressful to be doing stuff live. Like, as you guys probably noticed, you can run into some really annoying tech issues that really can bog down the experience, and that's partially my fault. I like switched camera setups before doing this stream after my last stream, and like hadn't done enough testing clearly, but you know, you kind of, it's hard to know what problems you're going to run into before you start. So I find the key for me to kind of like getting used to this stuff is to just keep doing it. So like it's kind of I build up in my mind like you know, live streaming is this like big thing, and I'm like, I don't feel up for it or whatever. But it's just the same way that I build up like cutting the weeds in my backyard as like a very difficult thing that I don't want to do, or you know, any number of other household tasks that when you actually sit down and do them, it's like, ah, oh, man, I cannot believe I put off doing this for like a month. It was so simple. Point of fact, I need to order a new script of 2 of my meds. One of them I have to just message my doctor on my chart, and the other I have to use like a CVS app in order to order it. And that's it. That's all I got to do is just like open my chart, message doctor, open the CVS app, order new script. But in my head, it becomes like a much more involved thing. So I have to kind of talk myself down like, no, this is not a big deal. This is something you can do. Like, this is a quick task. And in fact, I think of both of those tasks that I am putting off doing as being things that are like time sensitive. Like I have to do this during certain hours. But the reality is that like both tasks are actually like timing asynchronous or whatever, because you can message a doctor at any time. You don't have to call and speak to them in person the way that you used to. My brain is still like in like a old school kind of mode where it thinks of things in terms of like the way that it used to be. It's kind of funny. I don't know. Oh yeah, so like the first thing that you got to think about with live streaming is like, okay, I am not going to have an audience at first. Like, it's just, that's the reality. Like, you do not have an inbuilt audience, and like you have to make your content kind of compelling or whatever, and like part of it is also about like timing and like finding your audience and all that stuff. But the nice thing about live streaming, the thing that I will say like really is cool about it, is that it is much less mental overhead than making videos, because ultimately you are just kind of doing an activity, and like the point of the video is that interaction and the fact that it's live. You don't have that same kind of like, oh, perfectionist kind of view that you get with at least I get when I'm doing a video. I'm like, man, I want to like reshoot this, or I want to rethink this, or like, is that angle okay? And I wind up kind of working on something too long, where like the final product is not going to be great either way if it's something I'm new at. Like making painting videos is like not something that is like really I'm like highly confident about, because like even though I think that over the last couple of years I've become a decent painter, I like explaining my process. I feel like I'm not necessarily doing things efficiently a lot of the time, and like, you know, I get self-conscious about what I'm doing. And when you're doing it live, it's just like, well, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and people are going to watch or they're not going to watch, and you'll get through it. And like that, like you're probably not going to have that many viewers the first time you do it. And if you keep doing it on a consistent schedule, like people will, you know, there's obviously that like if you build it, they will come kind of aspect to it. But you know, it's one of those things where it's like you have to kind of view it as like, this is just a extension of my hobby. This is a chance to kind of share the more nitty gritty elements of my hobby with other people, and not to try to kind of like compare yourself to, you know, the intense followership that that a lot of big streamers get, because it's just it's really difficult to get that many people to show up, especially for like hobby stuff. Like, you know, if you're streaming a game, you know, you're gonna get like a broader appeal. You know, there's a bigger audience, so you know you might pick up more casual viewers that way. But hobby streaming really is, it's a tough one to kind of get big on. So if you just view it as like, this is just like me kind of sharing more of my process with people, and not try to do like about metrics or whatever. Like my thing with YouTube lately, and folks probably have noticed that my like output has dropped off, is that I was getting like really anxious about, like, I was releasing videos and like they were just not doing well at all, and like that was making me feel frustrated, and that was kind of like it was making the process joyless. So I took some time off. I kind of focused on you know, working on different hobby projects. So instead of making videos, I spent my time, you know, working on models. And I can't kind of, you know, it's not like I stopped, right? Like there was just like a 6-week period or something where I didn't put anything out, and that was that was about the long and short of it. And when I came back, like, it felt really good to make a video again, and I didn't even look at the metrics for it. And like I think that was the key to kind of getting back on the horse for me, was to like make a clean break with the fact that like I don't feel good, you know, when I see these like comparative numbers. So, you know, it's good to kind of take a step back. And so that's what I did. And I'm happy. And I think I'm going to start live streaming more. This is my second live stream in the last 2 weeks. And, or I guess in the last week, technically. And I like really like doing it. And the more that I do it, kind of the more comfortable I get. And the more I can justify getting that Logitech camera that I want. Because they make one that's designed for this kind of like hobby filming. And I feel like the biggest thing that I often am like self-conscious about with hobby streaming is like the fact that my cameras are kind of they're kind of annoying. Okay, I think we're gonna take advantage of the push fit and come in and do the skull, because I just looked it up and the chest Aquillas on Lamenters are gold because some lunatic decided that the yellow Space Marines should have gold on their chests. Not the direction I would have gone if I was designing it, but you know, I'm not. I am not a Space Marine armor designer. I'm okay with admitting that. I think this is the first time. Ah, yes, it's a fresh pot. So with the monument pots, they come sealed. So you want to put a hole in it so that it doesn't splatter when you get the tip off. All right. So this is the Dark Ivory from the Signature series. I'm gonna come in and do. Oh, let's shake it up a little bit. And all the monument paints come with glass agitators in them. I just really like monument paints. They have not paid me in any way. I promote them simply because I have used like every paint on the market. I am picky about paints. I have said borderline slanderous things about, not actually slanderous, but, you know, for using hyperbole. I said borderline slanderous things about Army Painter because of how much I find their paints frustrating. And Monument has been just an absolute joy to paint with. I had gotten really hooked on using contrast paints. And I still like contrast paints. I'm not saying that you shouldn't use contrast paints. But like, I was limiting myself a bit too much by doing kind of a lot of my work in contrast and then switching to weathering on top. And it just wasn't like giving me that kind of that pop, you know, that you want. And of course it wasn't, because like contrast paints are, you know, ultimately a little bit on the dull side. Even the newer ones, like, they're just never going to give you a highlight as intense as, you know, the kind of 6-step gradients that I regularly do now. And I switched over, and it was like night and day. All right, do a little of that. And maybe we'll do like a white on the skull here. Inside the Crux Terminatus. Alright. And we're at 55 minutes, so not going to finish the model within an hour, I don't think. But get pretty close, you know, all things considered. with a little bit less tech issues, I feel like I probably would have gotten even further. All right. Looking good. I like Vallejo a lot, or Vallejo, or I think it's Vallejo in Spanish, but I don't know if they care. Maybe it's Vallejo. I like their paints a lot. I've been using their express paints to supplement the contrast paints that I have, because I've been, like, my budget's been pretty tight the last 6 months or so. So I haven't really been able to, like, replenish all the contrast that I've used up over the years. So I've been kind of leaning on speed paints, because the pots are just so much cheaper than buying GW. I mean, I can go in and I can get like 6 speed paints for the price of like 3 contrast paints. And I don't know if the volume is different. I know the contrasts come in a bigger paint pot, but it's just a better deal. Even if the volume is slightly larger on the Citadel, it's just so much cheaper. Now, I will say, I will not compromise on all of the different types of contrast paints that I use. Like Black Templar, the black Vallejo Express paint is not a substitute for Black Templar at all. So, you know, I don't recommend trying to use them interchangeably, because, like, the main way I use Black Templar is by watering it down and then doing a wash with it over stuff like, you know, metal or whatever. And the speed paint is just not set up for that. If you do that, it becomes like a gray blue, which is fine. You know, that's what the paint is. You know, it's a self-shading black, so, like, of course, you know, it's natural for there to be a shade of blue as the kind of gray that you're getting. But I don't want, you know, that kind of gray blue shading on things that I am hoping to, you know, wash black. And the Citadel Black Templar just works. I've never had any issue with it. And now here I'm applying Snakebite Leather contrast. One of my old school favorite paints back in the day. Kind of reimagined for the contrast era. My pot is a little bit on the thick side, because this paint is one that I use a lot of, so it's running low. So I might have to water it down a little bit, because it's coming out just a little bit too thick. But it's not a big deal, because I will be layering over this brown with some dry brushing a bit later. Okay. We're getting there. Alright, it's officially been an hour since I ate the chip, and I have not consumed any food or water. So, ergo, ipso facto, etc., I can now say, I slayed the Pocky 2023 One Chip Challenge. I did. It just takes a little bit of gumption. You know, your brain is gonna tell you to quit if you want to do the full hour. Your brain is gonna tell you to tap. Because that's what it does. It's weak. It's natural. Your brain wants to avoid discomfort. But you just have to remind yourself, like, the whole point of doing this is to get through the discomfort and to, like, prove to yourself that you are able to deal with something that intense, that unpleasant. I will say, super important, super duper important, never, ever, ever give someone a chip that's that spicy without telling them. Like, I've seen, like, memes about doing that on, like, TikTok and stuff, and, like, those people are, like, actual, like, pieces of human garbage. Thanks for watching, Kalos. Have a good night. You gotta be a real screwed up person to subject someone else to, like, unexpected suffering of that degree. It's like dosing someone with acid without their permission. But with more suffering, honestly. Like, I mean, I know that, like, that the amount of suffering you experience when you get dosed unexpectedly varies. So, for example, I believe when the CIA was doing the MK Ultra experiments, at one point, someone, like, threw themselves out a window and died. And, like, that's pretty goddamn harmful. But, you know, a lot of people, when they get exposed to a psychedelic, you know, their reaction will not be quite so self-destructive. But, like, dosing someone with that spicy of a food without, you know, without giving them time to prepare or to say no, you know, without consent, is just sick. So never give someone something that's going to hurt them without, you know, without consent. That should go without saying, but, you know, the internet has created some incentives for people to be extremely cruel. Okay. I'm really, really happy with how the Express Paint filtering has gone over on the Lamenter. I should have mentioned when I started, but I'm using the Imperial Yellow as a filter for folks who didn't catch my last live stream. This is a process that I've been doing for years, but I recently figured out the terminology for it by reading some tutorials from Monument. You paint a very intense gradient, like you go from a very dark to a very light, and then you come back in and you use your words escaping me. You use a translucent paint to get that gradient kind of tinted back to the right color. And then if you want to like really get the best possible look, you then come back and you do one more layer of highlights. And this works really well. And I first learned about it from a tutorial. I don't even know who wrote it. It's like, this was in like 2012, so it's like lost to time. On how somebody did a really masterful job of painting Huron Blackheart. And I practiced this technique for a while, and it worked really well. And then I got kind of into painting other stuff, like especially blacks, and like I didn't really kind of have a feeling for how to translate that. So I didn't really kind of get back to it until I started getting into stuff with contrast paints. And the contrast paints are perfect for it. So the glaze step is called filtering. And I like it a lot. All right. We've got ourselves a decently on the way Space Marine here, I would say. All right. What to do next? We're close. Oh, I need to put the yellow down on the trim of this shoulder pad without getting it on the white part. And I'm doing this with the wrong brush for precision, because it's a beat up year-old brush, synthetic brush that I've chewed up and spit out. But it's okay, because even a crappy brush can work if you're very careful. All right. Now I would come in with like a skeleton bone, but I don't have any on me, so I'm thinking maybe a Wasteland Brown Express paint with oh, am I out of Wasteland Brown? Nope, never mind. With a heavy amount of glaze medium, which, by the way, the Pro Acryl glaze and wash medium is it is good stuff. Strongly recommend using it for your glaze and wash dilution. I mean, everything I've used from them is great, but it's taken over a lot of how. Yeah, it's still a little heavier than I want. I'm gonna put down. Okay. All right. And we come in here, and we do our little bit of brown. Slightly yellow tinted, and I think that's from the brush. No, I guess it is kind of a yellow brown. Alright. Well, whatever. So we kind of filter the whites a little bit. And I'll come back over those. I'm going to leave the shoulder pad alone, though. Because I am planning on doing a wash on it after getting the checkers painted. All right. Now to make myself miserable. Experiencing some additional discomfort from the chip. Let's see. Look at my inventors. All right. Just trying to see how big to go. Checkers. All right. So, I guess start a line here. I've never been good at this part. I will say the Pro Acryl paints are real nice for the cleanup after, as they are so pigment dense that they can really help you clean up mistakes. Oh, and while I'm thinking about it, thanks to Carl Casey at White Bat Audio for providing the music for today's stream. It is good stuff. Love me some White Bat Audio. Oh, that's funny. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, I thought the audio stopped as soon as I said the credits, which would have been ironic. But it wasn't. Okay. So we come in here with another. Okay. It is hard to concentrate on painting checkers at the best of times. It is particularly hard to concentrate on painting checkers when your stomach is yelling at you for eating a spicy chip. Your body's like, what exactly made you think that painting was the activity to pair with this? And the truth is, I don't know, body. I just do what I know. And I know painting. So, that was what I instinctively chose. And I'm glad that I did. 'Cause I have nearly gotten through this whole thing. All right. Come back over some white highlights. Here, while I let the stripes dry a bit. Just do some very, very light highlights in here. All right. And might as well grab my plasma red and do the red on the purity seal and do red on the eyes. And why not on the scope too? Okay. Man. Come in with a little bit more of that. Oh. Is one of the knee pads checkered? Okay. Not always. Sometimes is, sometimes isn't. We're gonna go with isn't on this guy. Oh, right. I forgot. There's a big old circle in the middle of the checkers. Well, no problemo. I am in discomfort. My stomach hurts. It would like me to eat something calming. Okay. And come around. All right. I've definitely gotten better at this from the last time that I painted a Lamenter. It took a lot more fixing. And don't get me wrong, I need to fix stuff, but it's a start. Oh, I am tired. I am ready for bed. I want to get the rest of the way before I turn in. Which isn't to say done, just far enough. All right. We're getting there. So Sorry, I'm not chatty right now. This requires a bit of concentration. That's why there's music. I think I know where my error was. This side should have come up. All right. It's a bit excessive, but I think it makes sense to reset this side. And let that dry for a minute. Maybe come in with a little bit of a Alright. It has been an hour and 23 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and eat a tortilla. Maybe that'll help settle my stomach. I should probably also just like go take a tub. I bet that would help. Alright. My body is like, we're dying. We're dying right now. And you thought that eating a tortilla was the solution? Well, I did. I still do. Come in here with a little. Okay. Now we do a similar swoopy and try to keep track of alright, so that would be white, so that portion there would be black, this portion here would be black, which means that, and all right. Whew. Thanks, Jade. Yeah, I'm happy with how I held up. I wasn't sure. Like the last time I did it, my whole family was in the room, and it was like Christmas Day, because my brother-in-law really wanted to try it, and I happened to have found a stand selling them on my way to their house, my in-laws' house on Christmas Eve. And so I was like, "Oh, you're interested? I've got, the chips right here." My brother-in-law was like, "Yeah, let's do it." He did a good job, but he did eat pretty quickly afterward because he listened to his body. And there's nothing wrong with that. Believe me, I understand being, doing the screen while also engaging in productive hobby activities. So, no judgment from me on that. Okay. The express paint might not be the paint to use on the heart, but it was a red and I had it out, so I decided to just go with it. And I have regrets. All right. Wait for that to dry. What I do. Do a little glow effect around the eye. And just a little light now. Not the day for that. All right. Let's fix this up here. Boom. Heart is slightly crooked. That could be corrected. All right. So, as far as speed paints go, I think this went pretty well. I'm gonna let it dry for a moment while I set up my oil wash, and that will be the finale. This went about as well as I could have hoped. I didn't get sick. I didn't tap out like on the painting side. I was a little worried because like the first time I did it, it was like I think it was more intense. I don't know if it's because of my own resistance getting stronger, or if this year's chip wasn't quite as hot as last year's, or what it is, and I'll probably never know, you know. But my hope was that I would get through the model, not necessarily in an hour. Like, certainly, if I had wanted to get the Space Marine done in an hour, I would not have chosen Lamenters as the color scheme, because the checkers, they really slow you down. But in an hour and a half, including some like tech difficulties, I managed to get a decent way done. Just gonna... Okay, cool. And now, come in with the oil wash. And we feel victorious. Still mixing. All right. Let me just hit this here. I'll probably put a Space Marine decal on the other side. From the heart. Something nice and simple. Once the mini is dry, of course. All right. And that's the way the news goes. Oops, I put that straight in the water instead of putting in the white spirit first. I always condition my brushes immediately after using oil paints on them, because they are rough on brushes. Okay. Ta-da! Not bad for a speed paint. Okay. I am going to put this thing down. Nope. Not quite. There we go. Okay, as I was saying, I'm going to put this thing down. I am going to go get some Tums so that I can sleep tonight. I'm gonna go to bed. Thanks everyone who watched and who watches this later. I did it. Huzzah!